Okay, so yeah, this session is being recorded. You will get a video of the recording of my screen and of my voice, so you'll be able to watch it later on. And then if you have to leave early for something, you can always watch it later on as well. So, my name is Lyra Mackay, and I'm an evangelist at Zoho. And usually that means that I travel around and I attend events. But now, obviously, we aren't able to do that because of everything happening in the world with coronavirus and with travel restrictions and with social distancing restrictions, which is really sad because I do love chatting with all of you at the events that I attend and meeting all of you. But for now, my job has been organizing these webinars and running them for you to learn about our new bundle of apps. Sorry, just quickly, someone said my voice is still too soft. I'll move the mic a little bit closer. If it's too loud, just turn me down. Or if you can't hear me and it's too soft, try and turn your volume up a little bit because everyone else seems to be fine. So a little bit of housekeeping before I get into it. Chrome or Firefox best for today, or the Showtime viewer app if you're on a mobile or a tablet. If you have a bad connection, try and refresh your browser. That has seemed to work in the past. You know, there are a lot of people working from home, so sometimes the internet is not as reliable as we would like it to be. So yeah, just try and refresh your browser if anything happens. I am recording this and you'll be sent recording after the webinar. If you have any questions, please post them in the question tab and I will answer them at the end. I'll try and check them throughout, but I will get to them at the end. And then if you want to chat or let me know something, you can tab. That would be great. So quickly, first, I just want to do a poll to see where you all are in the world, because I know there's people from a few different countries here. So I'm in Australia, sorry, I haven't put all the countries on here, but cool. A lot of people from other, I want to know where that is, but that's awesome. Thanks everyone for joining me. I think everyone who's going to answer has answered. A few more coming through. Cool. I will show everyone. Okay, awesome. That's good to know. Yeah, like I said, I'm in Australia on the Gold Coast, but this webinar is really for everyone. You'll all hopefully get something out of it and learn something. Oh, some people said they're in Brazil, India, Canada. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. Glad to have you here. So today we are going to be talking about managing projects with Zoho remotely. So first I'm going to talk a little bit about Zoho and then talk about Zoho remotely. And then I'm going to go into projects and sprints, which are our project management tools. And then at the end, I'm going to run through some resources for you and we'll do a Q&A at the end. So I'm actually going to run another quick poll now to see how familiar you all are with Zoho. If you all just want to click, you just get one click. That would be great, just so I know a little bit about you all and what you know about Zoho. Okay, so we have a few people who are Zoho 1 users. That's great. A few people haven't tried any of the apps. That's great too. You'll learn a little bit about Zoho remotely. And we also have other webinars that I've done that I've recorded, one on some of our communication tools, and then a getting started webinar, which I will hold again next Tuesday. If you are interested in that, you can head on to the Remotely Webinars page and register for that next week. Oh, someone said they're not getting the polls. Okay, sorry about that. It should just show up on the screen, but that's all right. You can let me know how familiar you are with Zoho and where you are in the world in the chat. But otherwise, that's no problem. I'm going to move on. I'm going to start talking about Zoho as a company. So Zoho has been around for over 24 years now, and maybe you've never heard of us, or you have sort of had Zoho in the back of your mind, because in general, in the tech industry, not many people have heard of Zoho, and that's because we don't spend much money on marketing. We do, however, spend a lot of money in engineering, in product development, and in research and design. So if you're wondering about the capabilities of Zoho Remotely, this free bundle of apps that we've brought out for everyone in the world, and whether they'll be able to support the needs of your organization, they definitely can. So Zoho has over 8,000 employees now, and we all work together across multiple countries, cities, and time zones. We have offices in Australia, India, the US, the Netherlands, Japan, a few others there. And we all work in multiple different departments, obviously, and we all use Zoho products. So that's pretty crazy. You know, we have over 8,000 people working on Zoho, working for Zoho, all using our products. So if you have a company with that many people, Zoho can definitely handle that as well. So then I want to talk about one of our core values for a little bit. So one of our core values as a company is privacy. And a lot of companies talk about privacy and how it's really important for them and for their customers. But you never know how many organizations they involve in their business practices. So they most likely have another company running their servers, and somehow the data is compromised. Or a company uses your data to develop projects that you don't know anything about, or they even sell your data to partners or something like that. And Zoho is really different here because we have built and we actually maintain all of our own data centers around the world, which is also why our products are a fair bit cheaper than some of the other vendors in the market. And this stuff is pretty common, especially with free versions. So typically when you think of a free version of a product, you think ads. So with Zoho, we are committed to your privacy because as a company, we really value ours. And that's one of the big reasons why we are a private bootstrapped company. We've never taken money from investors. Our CEO has made it clear we will never go public. We don't have shareholders that we need to please. And we're already profitable and have been for many years. So all we really have to worry about is pleasing our customers and pleasing our staff. And our customers have built our business, just like they've built all of your businesses. So this is the reason that Zoho Remotely is free right now, because all of our customers and every one of you have stood by us for all these years. And in these times when we recognize that these tools can be really valuable, we're standing by you, offering them for free. So even though Remotely is free, we want you to know that you own your data. We will never sell it or use it for anything, and you will never see any ads in our products. And I think that's just really nice to know. So this is a little triangle of Zoho just to help you explain, our applications and our products. So we have over 50 apps right now, and they're down the bottom. And then you see the platforms here. And that's where Zoho Remotely fits in. It's one of our platforms. It's not in this picture yet, but it will be soon. And then at the top, you can see Zoho One. So some of you are using Zoho One currently. If you don't know, it's basically almost every one of our products built into the one platform, and we call it the operating system for business. If you're interested, have a look on the Zoho One website. But I will just be talking about Zoho Remotely today. So there are separate webinars on Zoho One and all of the apps. If you go onto their unique websites, you can have a look at them there. So with all of that information, you can see that the free bundle of Remotely is not a sketchy piece of software. It's a really powerful toolkit that gives you access to 10 different applications. If you're in the US, you will also get Zoho Lens, but for everyone else, it's not included yet. So I won't go into that. But basically, these apps are designed to help you transition to working from home and help your business carry on its operations while you have a scattered workforce, but help you maintain productivity. So whether you've worked from home before or you're figuring out how to get started maintaining communication and collaboration and productivity, or you've worked for home for years and this is maybe your opportunity to try out some new apps or streamline your operations, Remotely can help everyone while working from home. So these are the apps included in Zoho Remotely, and they can be broken up into 4 different categories. So these are communication, collaboration, productivity, and remote assistance. And so in communication, we have Click, Meeting, and Showtime. In collaboration, we have Work Drive, Projects, and Sprints. And those 2 projects and sprints I'll cover today. And productivity, we have Writer, Sheet, and Show, which is our Office suite. Remote assistance, we have Zoho Assist there as well. And so, yeah, like I said, I'll be covering projects and sprints today. I hope that's all right. Yesterday, I did a webinar on Click, Meeting, and Work Drive. If you'd like a recording, let me know in the chat or in the little evaluation at the end, and I can send you a link to the recording. And then next week, I can add another webinar if you want on Showtime or Assist if you want some more information. Or if you'd like me to do a deeper demo into one of the apps, I can do that as well. And just feel free to ask questions about all of the apps, though, if you have them. So last poll for today. I just want to know what project management tool you are using. And if you aren't using one, just put other. I forgot to put not using one. All right, that's awesome. So I'll show the result to everyone so you can all see it. A lot of you using Zoho Projects, that's great. Some of you using other. I don't know if that's that you're not using anything or you're using something else. That's fine. You can let me know in the chat if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to get started going into projects. So let's dive in. So with projects, we can plan, track, and collaborate. So when you first go to start the project, you'll be able to plan and break down your project into manageable parts like your milestones. And then under each milestone, you'll have some task lists. And then each list will have some tasks. And you can have subtasks under those as well. Then you can create a few different dependencies between your tasks. The most common one would be finish to start, which means the child task can't be started until the parent task is completed. For example, the concrete has to be poured and set before you put a structure on it. So with projects, you can also view your data in Gantt charts that help you visualize your progress within a project. You can track staff time. When you're a manager, you can track your own time and the people under you. You can separate billable and non-billable hours. Maybe you're working within a project budget and some time cannot be considered billable. You can also track any issues you've had along the way. And these can be added into the system and then transformed into new tasks. And obviously, because projects is one of our collaboration tools in Remotely, you need to be able to collaborate with your team. So a team chat tool is actually built into projects. So as well as having Click and the mini version of Click, if you've seen some of my previous webinars in the product, there's also an actual team chat in projects, which is useful as well, which I will show you later. Then you have forums that you and your team can post on. These can be business specific or project specific. You can upload documents, and there are a lot of integrations that you can have with projects. Some of these include Google Calendar, Google Drive, OneDrive, Microsoft Teams, Dropbox, iCal, Slack, Gmail, Zendesk, and then obviously you can choose from a range of flows if you have Zapier or Zoho Flow if you're a Zoho One user. If you don't want to know what that means, don't worry about that. Then if you've been using Jira or Basecamp, which are other project management tools, you can import your information from these into projects. If you type in zoho.com/projects/integrations, you can see all of those there and figure out how to do that if that's something you're interested in. And then actually with your documents, which I will show you later on, you can actually start a writer sheet or show document within projects, and they are the apps in our Office suite. So like many of our apps, Projects is available on desktop and on mobile. And I wanted to highlight or show this slide because this is the type of reporting and charts you can get from projects. So this is a milestone Gantt chart, and it's really, really nicely laid out. You can see the milestone here, which has little flags of the site work. Underneath that is a task list, new building, and then you have the tasks under those. And then to the right, there are some nice links here, which are the dependencies of the tasks. And so I just wanted to show you this because my demo account is not as beautiful as this. So this just gives you a good idea of what yours can look like. So this is the same demo account, sorry, that I showed you in the last slide. So you can see that, where is it? The site work milestone there. And that milestone is actually finished. So this is what it'll look like when you have a look at all of your milestones. You have a bit of information here about how well your team is doing in completing the project. The green looks good. If there was some red here, that would be bad, but green is good. So they've got a fair bit of time to finish, and it looks like they're on the right track. Then here we can see those dependencies again. And these tasks have been assigned to certain team members. So for example, Helen knows she can't start her task until Eduardo finishes his task. So your team can come in and see how your other team members are doing, and it's just really collaborative. And then here we can see Kanban view. So I just wanted to show you this. This is our task list. You can have classic, plain, or Kanban, and I will show you in the demo. But I really like Kanban view. I find it the most helpful in laying out your entire process, and you can easily drag and drop tasks between these, open, in progress, to be tested, and closed. So I'm going to get into the demo here. I'm just going to drag this down. Okay. So hopefully you can all see my screen now. It's my browser. So right here, when we enter projects, you've got your portal dashboard. Now, this is a basic overview of your entire company's projects, if they are all in here. So you've got an overview of your projects, you've got some tasks here, your reports, some issues, overdue work items, milestones, timesheets, other tasks, and your calendar as well. And then when you click on your feed, you're able to see any updates that the team has made. So this is the entire feed. It includes the status and the activity stream. Then you can go into the status and say something like, let's get excited to start working hard. And then you can either put it in this project we have or to all portal users. So you can post that and it should pop up there. And then the activity stream tracks your activity by day. So similar to the feed, but a bit more task focus. And then when we click projects, we can see, this is where you would see all of your current projects. So in this demo account, we only have one here. But when you click on it, it takes you through to the project and you get another dashboard. And this one is specific to this project. You've got a task status, a budget status, user status, what your week looks like, and so on. And this is customizable. You can turn these on and off by clicking customize widgets. And then over here, you've got all of your little tabs that you can click on. So we've got milestones here. And you can see that, you know, we're a little bit late in getting this project finished. Here we go. So we've done 75% of this milestone. And you could click onto each of these milestones for some more information, or you could click on the Tasks tab. And there's a few ways to view your task. Like I said before, there's Classic, which you can see here, Plain, which just has all of your tasks in there. And you can see we've got a lot of tasks to do. They're open. And then the Kanban. And so like I said before, it just looks a bit cleaner and more organized to me. You can drag and drop tasks really easily. So say that one's in review, maybe this one's done. Let's go over here. Sorry, my computer's a bit slow. Okay, that one can be delayed. And you sort of get the idea. You can move these all really easily, move them back if you've made a mistake, and that will all update everywhere throughout your project. Then we've got a calendar here. So you can see when all of your tasks are due and what needs doing when and by who. Then you've got skip over that for a second, you've got your documents. So you can upload documents to your projects, and this is where you can also create documents. So if we were to click new, you could create a document, spreadsheet, or presentation, and this is writer sheet and show. So you would click that, it would just open up another tab. You would be able to write some stuff in, and that is all collaborative as well. And then you'd be able to save that to the project. Then we have our timesheets. So you can see here that Dylan was up late last night building the website for this client, and you would be able to log time really easily up here. So you would click on log time, choose a task. Maybe we were doing build website again. And then you could just click add. Oh, no. Yeah, let's go 1 to 4 again. So you could put that time in there and you would see that's been added there. Then if we click here, you can see your issues. So your issues is something that is going wrong. So Dylan worked on the website, but then it was bad. So that issue goes in here so that he knows to have another look at it. And we also have this is the chat tool I was talking about. So you can join into this project chat, and maybe you can, because I'm Dylan, this is the account of Dylan. So I can say my website is bad and I'm sad. And then you can send that to the chat, and everyone in there will be able to see that and be able to make Dylan feel better. Now, this is, oh, sorry, let me go back in here. Okay, this is your feed specific to this project. So you can see we've had a few people join in on this project, and you can organize these. You've got them by these tabs as well. Okay, so now I want to go into Gantt charts and reports. So let me click on Gantt chart. So you can see our milestone. We've got a milestone Gantt and a chronology Gantt. I'll just leave it on milestones for now. So you can see the ones with the flags of the milestones, and then this would be a task list, and this would be a task below there. So on the right, you can see the dependencies. And like I said, this doesn't look that great. The screenshot I showed you is better, but you sort of understand what I'm trying to say here. So you can set the dependencies. And then what's really cool is if Dylan is taking too long purchasing the domain, he can say, okay, it actually took me to this date, and all of the dependent tasks move along. So that it's really collaborative, and that you can really work with your team. They know that maybe you weren't able to get it done, and so that they just get notified, okay, Dylan hasn't finished this task, and they won't be able to start it until Dylan finishes his task. Okay, and then another report here. Okay, so then milestone Gantt is just, breaks it down to milestones, and chronology Gantt just has all of the tasks here. And then we can have a look at resource utilization. So this shows when people, how much work people have completed in a day. On the left is work allocated, and on the right is free time. So you can come in here and see that, okay, Dylan doesn't have that much work this week. He has a lot of free time. We should give him some more work. So you can make sure that, you're really utilizing your resources, and giving all of your team sort of, if you want them to have equal amounts of work, you can give them that, or you can just make sure you're tracking their time really well. You're not giving them too much work. And then there's a few other reports, planned versus actual time. They don't look that beautiful right now, but you can see we've got a few tasks open, some closed, different things like that. And then up here, there are some settings that you can change. So there's a lot of customization and automation that you can do. And you can create things like blueprints, which help you automate your processes. Maybe you have a project and like building a house, you have a specific process for getting all of the contracts and figuring everything out with all of the local laws. There's a really clear process that you have for that, and you want to automate that. You can do that with a blueprint. I won't get into that, but if you're interested, there is some really helpful information on blueprints on the project's website. Okay, so let me go back to projects, and we're going to start a new project. So let's say that we've been contacted by a client and they want to hire us to create a branding kit. So here we go, Beach Shack branding. So we select that, we put a little title, but then we're adding this information in, and we realize that we actually need to get quite a lot of client feedback, and the project might be changing around a lot. Maybe we've done a branding kit plenty of times before and we know how to do it, but the certain client is just, they'll have a lot of changes and they don't really know what they want out of your business. So because projects is designed to be, for things that really don't change that much, it's a little bit flexible, but it's meant for something that you've done many times before, and there won't need to be many changes. You don't need to get much feedback from your clients, but you know that this one will be different. So that is where you would decide to use sprints instead. So let me go back to my slides here. Oh, projects demo. I did that. Okay, so sprints overview. So sprints is a similar concept. You have a project, you input data, your work items, your tasks, and you finish those tasks. So sprints is really good at adapting, collaborating, and then you can also customize it really easily as well. So for adapt, you've got project backlogs, sprint backlogs. You've also got a Scrum Board and epics. Now, so sprints is more of an agile project management. If you've heard of agile project management, you would know what these words mean. I will explain them when I do the demo. But then with collaborating, you have a dashboard similar to projects. You can have team meetings. You've got a feed as well as timesheets. And then you can customize with custom fields, views, and layouts. You can create templates, and there's a bunch of integrations for sprints as well. So first up, you have a project backlog and a sprints backlog, and you can see these here. Now, the project backlog has every work item that you have planned for the entire project. Now, you don't have to fill in all of this information at the start. Like I said, Sprints is an agile project management, so it's made for chopping and changing things around. So you might have something that the customer didn't tell you, or that you're adding in later on. So you can, you don't have to have everything in there at the start. But pretty much when creating a work item, you have three options: stories, tasks, and bugs. And you can see this flag is a story, this document thing is a task, and this bug is a bug. So a story is a requirement from a user's perspective. For example, you're developing their website and they want a favorite section. A task is a requirement from your perspective, and a bug is something that needs fixing. So once you add your work items in here, you can drag and drop them into the sprints. And this is one of the sprints, a shopping cart sprint. And within each sprint, you can drag and drop a handful of work items over. And then you can make them sort of follow on from each other, like you see this line here. And then when you have when you're happy and you have a bunch of items in your sprint, you can then run that sprint. And the most simple way that I could think to explain this is if you pretend you're a gardener and you go to someone's house and they tell you what they want. This is created as a story. And you know that in the garden, you need to be putting a special chemical on the garden. That's a task. And then there's also a stump that needs to be pulled out. That's a bug. So you add those things into your project backlog and all the other things that you have to do. And then you add half of them to a sprint called day 1, and the other half to a sprint called day 2. Now, usually sprints would last 2 to 4 weeks because there would be, numerous teams working on these tasks. But for this simple explanation, pretend each day is a week or 2. So we've planned the gardening project, and day 1 comes around and we start our sprints. And our team gets to work on their relevant work items. Day 1 then ends. We close out our sprint. Some tasks don't quite get finished in time, so we move them to the day 2 sprint and we close out day 1. We get the customer's feedback and we add in a whole lot more stories, tasks, and bugs to the project backlog, which we can then add to day 2 or day 3 and so on. And that process sort of just keeps going for weeks or months until the project is finished. So now so when you start a sprint, all of the work items, the tasks that you have to do get added to your Scrum Board. So the Scrum Board shows you your progress in a sprint. So I'm getting my words all mixed up. So we can actually see all of the updates and progress as it happens. We can see what the team still has to do, what's in progress, what is needing to be tested, and what is done. So I apologize if this slide is quite blurry for you, but I just want to explain what an epic is. So you can categorize your sprints as epics to track the overall project. If you've used agile management tools, you would sort of know what an epic is. But basically, an epic is a collection of stories, tasks, or bugs. So those are those work items, all with a common objective. So back to the gardening story, one epic might be gardens, another might be walkways, and another might be water feature. So this person has a lot of money. They want a big, outrageous water feature in the middle of their backyard. So when you're creating those work items, you can group them into an epic. And the water feature epic might have a story saying, I like lots of concrete, and that's come from the customer. And then one of the tasks would be, we need to make sure that the concrete is stable and doesn't fall on anyone. And then a bug might be, but there's a big stump in the way, something like that. So yeah, so I'll get into the demo and I'll show you a bit more about that. But you can also keep track of your progress on the dashboard. So just like projects, there's a dashboard. In sprints, there's a dashboard as well, which shows a basic overview of your progress and some important stats as well. So you can see a weekly digest here, some productivity stats, sprints completed, and your overall completion of the project. Then here we have some reporting. So you choose from a range of reports, and these can help you see the progress of your projects. So this chart focuses on the user interface sprint. And it seems that you can see we've got a bunch of work items in progress, but we're really cutting it down. So as we move along, we're getting the work done. This looks like a pretty good report to me. So similar to projects, in sprints, there's a time tracking ability so that your team can record all of their hours and combine all of the billable hours into a log so that you can then invoice the customer easier and faster. You can also organize meetings to update your team. So the big thing about sprints is that it's designed for people who are going to be constantly adapting and getting feedback from their customers. So once you have all of that feedback, you can organize a meeting and communicate that information with the team. Then you can, like I said, create more work items in the backlog, add them to the sprints, run the sprints, and so on. So I'm going to go into a quick demo now. I'm going to drag my screen down here. I see that there's a few questions. I will just finish the demo quickly and I'll get to them at the end. Okay. So when you first go into sprints, you land in the projects page. Now, at a glance, you can see a few different bits of information on the project. Sorry, you can see all the sprints, the stories, tasks, and bugs that you have. And so when we look at creating a project in sprints, I'll hit create, and you can type in a name, maybe Beach Shack branding. You can leave it ungrouped. You can select a start date. Maybe we want to start it tomorrow. Maybe it'll take us 3 weeks or so. And then we hit next. And then we can invite the users. And now you'll see that there's 2 roles here, manager and member. So a manager can see the projects that they've been assigned to, and a member can only see the sprints that they've been assigned to. So you can see if we add Darlene, she's automatically been given a member role. And that's because when she was set up, she was not given access rights to be a manager. So then we would hit next, and we have these project settings. So your prefix would be BSB for Beach Shack branding. You can choose your layout if you have created different layouts. And then you've got this estimation type over here. And this is just a series of numbers that defines the complexity of each task. For example, tying your shoelaces is maybe a 1, while organizing a party is maybe an 8 or a 13 or something, if that's how the numbers add up, I think it is. And basically, or you can do a custom, and you could do like 1 to 15 or something like that. Basically, with the Fibonacci sequence, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 2 plus 3 equals 5, and so on. So I'll show you what that'll look like a bit later on. But if you want to just do a scale of 1 to 15, that's fine too. And then we would hit create, and you're ready to start your project. So then when you hit create, you can go into your project, you can add work items to your backlog, and you can create a sprint. For now, I'm going to just go into one of the ones we already have created. There's not too much information in here, but it does the job for today. So website design and marketing. So when we click into it, we see the dashboard, and I bet you'll be glad I showed you some of those nice screenshots before of the beautifully built out dashboards, because this may look a bit bare, but pretty much you can see that we are 17.4% finished of this project. And then you've got these tabs over here similar to the project application. So you can see when we hit feed, we've got all of those recent updates, and we would also see any meetings that we had scheduled here. So we've got first team meeting, woohoo. And then I'll skip the backlog for now, I'll come back to that. Then we have our epics, and we've got business story and website design. So these are some of those categories that we can group our sprints into. And then we've got our Scrum Board. And that is where we can see what there is to do, what's in progress, and what is done. And this is the website planning sprint. We would also have the content sprint. So you can see we've got a few different sprints going at the same time. You can do that. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the backlog and I'm going to show you how to add a work item. So you can see we've got this project backlog. This means that none of these things have been done and they haven't been added as a sprint yet. So we've got a few sprints here that also haven't been started. So you can see back in the board, we've got 2 sprints that we've started, content and website planning. And in the backlog, these sprints have not been started yet. So you can hit create up here, and then you can create an item, and you could say customer wants, I don't know, a pink background for the website design, and then that would be a story because that's something that the customer has wanted. And then you could hit create. Because it's in website design, you could add it to this sprint and then just drag and drop, and then you can run this sprint. And yep, start. And then this sprint goes into the board, your Scrum board. So now you can see we've got 3 here. And then you can say, okay, this is in progress. Payment page needs fixing. This is in progress too. And then you can move these all to done. And pat yourself on the back. All the work items are done and you've finished your sprint. So this sprint should go somewhere. Hang on a second. Okay, so now that information will go into the reporting, or I'll show you the reporting here. So, and that sort of sprint process would just go on like that until you had finished the project as well. So here we've got our actual versus planned timesheet reports. Like I said, it doesn't look too beautiful. You can see a few bits in red here. We haven't done much work. Oh, we haven't got anything in here. So basically the velocity chart helps you estimate future sprints as it compares committed and completed tasks in your sprints. So this basically gives you the rate at which your team is delivering value, and it helps you predict your progress for the future. So then you've got your burn down and burn up charts, and they compare your current progress with your ideal progress. Sorry, that's the burn down. This is the burn up. So this is your current progress, and this is really how it should have happened. So that's because this project has been going on since September last year. This sprint, so that it's taken a while. Then we've got a cumulative flow diagram, and I showed you a screenshot of one of these. It had that little uppy and it went along like that. Basically, it shows what you've got to do, what's in progress, and what has been done. Then there's an epic progress report, which shows you the sprint-wise progress of each epic, along with a summary of the work items and their statuses. And then the last thing I want to point out again is in the top right, you've got some settings that you can change. You can customize a lot of it, but for now, that's all I have for the sprints demo. I'm going to put this back up here. All right. And so this is the slide I wanted to show you. It basically explains the difference between projects and sprints. So if you are going to use projects, it's best for waterfall project management. And that is like that hierarchical milestones to task lists, to tasks, to subtasks. It sort of looks like a waterfall going down. Great for things you've done before with well-defined requirements, and there's going to be not many changes throughout. You don't really get much feedback from the client, and it's sort of predictable work. And then sprints is going to be best for agile project management, when you're changing your projects quickly and you're involving your clients and for continuous improvement. It's good for to market deadlines when you have a lot of shifting priorities, like I said, when there's a lot of high stakeholder engagement, and it's just best overall for a flexible project. And then some common elements among the two. They're both great for team collaboration. They both have desktop and mobile versions. You can plan, track, and report and execute all of your projects, and they're both very secure as well. Okay, so I'll answer those questions in a second. I'll just go over some resources quickly. So there is a lot of information available in the knowledge base for projects and sprints, and I would highly recommend having a look at that. If you have any questions that I can't answer, if you have, if you just want some more information, there are also webinars specifically for projects and sprints that have been done by the actual teams who develop those products. And I just highly recommend having a look at that. If you want some more information on remotely, you can have a look there. Some security, if you want to have a look at more webinars. If you have any more questions that after the webinar, you can email me, lyra.m@zohocorp.com, and then the projects and sprints websites are there as well. And then we have for paying customers who've been with us over a year, and if you have 25 employees or less, we have an emergency subscription assistance program. And we will give you up to $2,000 in wallet credits, and that should cover you for 3 months of subscriptions. So if you are eligible and you wanted to have a look into trying to apply for that, I'm pretty sure we have 20,000 spots available and only a few thousand have been granted so far. Have a look at zoho.com/ESAP for that one. And then for our Australian and New Zealand customers who have been using remotely for a little while, if you found it helpful during the coronavirus pandemic, we'd really like to hear from you. So you can send me a chat now or you can email me. This may be in the form, so we just want testimonials. It might be in the form of a video interview about your experience and the value it's adding to help run your business from home, or a written testimonial or a case study. And we just really want to, highlight the effect of coronavirus on our Australian and New Zealand businesses and how these tools have helped you. And if you're from a different country and you are interested in something like this, let me know and I will have a look if we're doing that for other regions as well. So then if you're active on social media, feel free to tag us using these hashtags. Come find me on LinkedIn if you like, Lyra Mackay, or so you can continue the conversation about remote work and let your online communities know that we have these tools available for them.